Hey guys, Infidel1258 here. Today I want to share with you a clip from our recent Splinterlands TV live event. And we're going to talk about legendary summoners. We're going to talk about Chaos Legion versus Untamed. We're going to talk about which legendary summoners are going to have more bang for the buck. And I think interestingly, we're going to actually compare some of the best from Untamed. We're going to see what makes them special. And we're going to speculate about how some of that power might reach into the new Chaos Legion legendary summoners. I actually believe it might. I think some of these new legendary summoners might be meta redefining. We're going to discuss that in depth in this video. Stick around, stay tuned. And if you want to be live for these discussions, come to Splinterlands TV on Twitch from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. on Pacific Standard Time, and come hang out Friday nights. Okay guys, bye for now. I'm excited. Butter says, I'm excited to see if we gain some serious momentum with the better airdrop releases. Me too, dude. It seems to me like the legendary summoners are going to be meta redefining. In fact, I feel pretty confident about that. Like that is a speculation, but I feel pretty confident about it. I recently saw a video by I think it's Hawks21. He's a YouTuber. He's got about 1,000 subscribers. I might be wrong about the name. I don't want to look it up right now because I don't want some YouTube ad to pop up, but I think it's Hawks21. And he does great videos. And you should definitely sub him. But he did a video recently where I felt I disagreed. He was talking about how we shouldn't count on the new legendary summoners being better than Splinter from the Untamed summoners, the Untamed legendary summoners. And on the one hand, I agree we shouldn't count on it, but I think the interesting thing about new card creation is that you can never really know how good the cards are going to be until they're in circulation, until they're being used. Do you know what I mean? Like, picture yourself in the developer's shoes when they create a new card. And especially ones with new abilities, they don't really know how game breaking it's going to be, and so they don't necessarily mean to create power creep sometimes, but then it just happens at times. Certain abilities like Last Stand, the Llama, Last Stand wasn't brand new with Llama because we had it on Kron, but it was so rare at that moment. And then they released it on a summoner, which opened it up to all kinds of new synergies that I don't know if they were properly thought through. And so sometimes, you guys know, when Llama partners with a certain monster that has maybe self-heal, retaliate. I'm thinking of the Hydra, which is absolutely nasty. But, you know, it's more than just the Hydra. The Flesh Golem, any sort of self-healing big main tank is going to just do nasty damage and stay alive and persevere because of that Last Stand, because of the extra health that the Llama gives, because of the cleanse the Llama offers. And my point is, I just don't know that you can properly understand the power creep that you're offering when you design a new character until you let it loose in the wild and see what it does. Now, these guys are smart. The developers are smart. They're brilliant. And they think these things through, and they look at many angles. But I am a free market capitalist, and I believe very strongly that there are so many variables at work in an economy such as Splinterlands, and the card market is an economy. So understand that when I say the economy, I mean the card market in this context. And that card market is so nuanced in terms of the tens of thousands of individuals that are speculating on this asset or that, and who are having their own interpretation of maybe charts, historical data, game win rates, how often is it being played with, all this stuff, this information is out there, and there's different people are forming different opinions, but there's so much there's no way to properly track all of the unique considerations that would come to mind from the market standpoint. And so you'll hear different investors say, like, you You just don't know, like the market can be irrational longer than you can stay solvent. And there's ideas around, there's sentiment that's shared around investing that's always about, you just don't necessarily know all the unforeseeable considerations. And I think even if you're brilliant, and I think Aggie and Yava are brilliant, and so is the team that's undergirding the economy and the power creep conversations around the card development, you just don't know. And so my point is, the next summoner, in fact, the current summoner, Grandmaster Wraith, I don't even believe we properly understand how powerful he is, because it takes time to understand these things. And so that's my point. You need to have them out in the ecosystem at work, and with people being creatively applying it in this way and that. And now we just got modern and wild. How has that changed its use? Because in modern, it's only working with these cards. In wild, it's working with all cards. There's so many considerations. It's not possible to properly understand all of those implications. And so I believe there's a distinct possibility one or two of these legendary summoners, and maybe even Grandmaster Wraith, and we haven't seen it yet, will be meta redefining. And I think Grandmaster Wraith is amazing. And I do think some of these other ones will be amazing also. I've heard criticism from the communities around Grandmaster Wraith saying, and I, the data, last time I checked, let's look at it right now, but last time I checked from Summoner Labs, it wasn't great. His win rate wasn't great, but I don't think that matters. So here, 55% across all leagues, but that's only with 383 battles at all leagues. He's not played at novice. He's been played a little bit at bronze. That's quite a few battles actually, and a 50% win rate. Okay, so about 100 battles, a 46% win rate at silver. Wow. Okay, gold has got a 62% win rate. That's pretty decent. No, that's not decent. It's strong. And look at that, a diamond, 61. Yeah, I mean, and this is a small sample size, but I think that's reliable-ish. And so my point is, I think we are still getting our bearings with a card like this. And I think the new summoners are going to be the same thing. And you might think to yourself, oh, they're whatever. But I don't think that's going to be true. And I don't think the sentiment around Grandmaster Wraith is going to be in 2 years' time going to be like, oh man, this one sucks. The sentiment is going to be like, wow, I wish I bought Grandmaster Wraith when it was $18 or whatever it was the other day. And now I think, let's see, Grandmaster Wraith. How you doing, buddy? Yeah, so $20, $19. He touched 18, and the gold foil too. Actually, what was the gold? The gold foil of Grandmaster was up around, I want to say 200. It was higher than Quixodevious, and as you can see right now, it's right on par with Quix. And I would argue, even though Quix is a dragon, like we talked about earlier, dragons are very versatile, and in many respects, it's super important to have a powerful dragon team. I think Grandmaster Wraith is completely a different league than Quixodevious, even though this is a dragon, and that opens the door for all kinds of amazing dragon monsters. I think this is a totally different league. Amplify Void Armor is so intensely applicable for the purposes of white, which he serves in white. Holy cow, Grandmaster Wraith, I really like him. And so very powerful. But this price is continuing to tick down. Is it going to keep ticking down? That's the gold foil. Even the regular is kind of stabilized. Is it going to stay there? Is it going to go down? I don't know. But long term, I think we were going to be very satisfied with these summoners that are not just Grandmaster Wraith, but all of the new ones that are coming. I think we're going to be really blown away by some of them. And I do believe that regardless of whether Splinterlands team wants to or not, you're going to see power creep. And it has nothing to do with bad management. It has nothing to do with, poor thinking or planning. They're brilliant guys. But it's an economy, and an economy has and almost an infinite number of variables to consider. And if you want to control that economy, then you need to anticipate all of those. You need to anticipate all unforeseen consequences, all possible, considerations, and that's just not reasonable. And so because of that question mark and that incapability of narrowing down all of it, I think as a result you see power creep in a game like this, and you're going to see new summoners that are going to blow you away. And I think it's reasonable to expect one or two of them will be meta redefining. I really believe that. Osiris says people are adapting. Oh, hang on a second, lost it. People are adapting their play with Wraith, so meta will shift. Yeah, for sure. And Cimarron says Wraith will have a lot of use in Modern, but part of Modern isn't out yet. It needs Rift Watchers to round it out. That's a very powerful point. And that's kind of something I was alluding to when I was talking about the powerfulness or the possibility for an OP legendary summoner to come out of these new airdrop summoners. I said that it takes time for the meta to evolve and for us to understand the power of a card like Grandmaster Wraith. I didn't explicitly say that the cards that begin to surround him that are released at later dates also synergize and impact the effectiveness of a Wraith or the next summoner. They do, you're right. So Rift Watchers is going to be pivotal in defining how powerful Grandmaster Wraith is, and how powerful all the legendary airdrop summoners are, and for that matter, how powerful Chaos Legion is generally. Because if there are some amazing synergies, then that might mean that the wild format, the modern format, has some really interesting play styles developing, and the wild can play those too, but the wild will have other cards that could speak into that. Older cards like betas or promos that might be, or old reward cards that perhaps could counter some of the plays you're going to see in the modern format. Interesting point. I'm glad you said it because I didn't properly articulate that. Rift Watchers is going to round out how we use the new legendary airdrop summoners. Thanks, Cimarron. Elephantium, Grandmaster Wraith is a defensive summoner. If you look at the older legendary summoners, the defensive ones are the cheapest besides Llama, who is very different. Yeah, I think that's fair. I would argue that Llama is in a league altogether his own. Llama is not. Wraith is not in Llama's league. Let's see, legendary summoners. This combination is so fierce. This combination with Scarred Llama is so fierce because one thing, the last stand is powerful in and of itself. If that's all it did, would be a powerful summoner. But then the +2 hit points is actually really, really synergistic, because last stand, I think, doubles your hit points. I think it might be like 50% more hit points or something like that. But it's a huge hit point buff. And so this 2 extra hit points actually really meaningfully adds to the last stand hit point increase. And then one of the ways to lose when you're playing this mode is by getting, afflicted and poisoned and so on and so forth, stunned. But a cleanse just comes in and stops it. So I feel like this kit is so synergistic, like it's so cohesive, that I would say that this is that's why Scarred Llama is so effective, because the kit is so cohesive. Now, Grandmaster Wraith is amazing also. Now, I don't believe, and yet I think it's not really fair to say that Scarred Llama is necessarily in a league all his own. He is definitively now. But to that point by Cimarron earlier, when we see what Rift Watchers brings, the picture can begin to change. Because, let's quickly look at Dice. What does Dice bring? So, you know what? What does Dice bring on the neutral side? Not much. Dragon? No, it wouldn't work with dragon. You know what? That's not that all that, like, none of these are super important last standers. I mean, yeah, this would be a cool last stander, but that's not a play you see very often. And these are not last standers. My point is, I'm trying to see how important dice was to our understanding of what Scarred Llama is capable of. And in that example, dice didn't didn't transform Scarred Llama's impact. But that doesn't mean Rift Watchers won't have an impact on the power of, for instance, Grandmaster Wraith. I do think it's generally speaking a fair comment to say, Grandmaster Wraith is not going to reach to the heights of a Scarred Llama. But if you wanted to take that conversation to the next logical step, it would be probably this. Is it possible that one of the Chaos Legion summoners, the new legendary airdrop summoners, could be of this power range? Is it possible? I would say it's possible. And I would say that it's not likely the intention of the game developers. Like, in fact, I think probably explicitly the game developers are not trying to create another kitty. They are not trying to create another Yodin or Scarred Llama. They are not trying to implement significant power creep. That almost goes without say. But these things happen by accident sometimes, and they are making excellent new summoners. And as new cards come out that synergize with old cards, you can see surprising power and effectiveness that isn't necessarily understood on the date of release or the date the card was created. And so cards like this could grow in power because of some synergies that exist. Like if there was some really interesting Thorns, Magic Reflects monsters, a Magic Reflect Thorn monster with high armor would be a huge partner for Grandmaster Wraith. You see, because they amplify the void armor. And so things like that could really add to the utility of this card. And that's the sort of question mark you can't really put your finger on. And it takes months or even years to watch that play out.